All right, so I have this function. Now, all these are functions because we're finding function values with some of these. What is f of 3? F of 3 is 1, right? So, some of those graphs are the same that we had a while ago. Actually, they're all the same what we had a while ago, I think. Yep. All right. What's f of 0? 7. Okay, no big deal. What's the y-intercept? 7. All right, now here's the new idea. What values of x does f of x equal 7? So what values of x does f of x equal 7? Now remember, f of x means the same thing as what idea? Y. All right, so when I found f of 3, I asked myself, what is the y value when x is 3? So when x is 3, what is y? That's what you're asking. Here, you're asking what's f of x?
7.
No, what does f of x stand for? Y. So here you're asking when y is 7, what is x? That's what you're asking. So you're trying to find x here. So when y is 7, so you go along. You remember when we did this one? When we found f of 3, at first what we did in the previous lesson was we said, all right, I'm going to locate 3 on the x-axis because that's what x is, right? So here's 3 on the x-axis. What point is associated with that? Well, that's this one right here. Y'all agree?
Yes.
Okay. Here, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go along the y-axis and I'm going to locate 7. Well, here's 7 on the y-axis. How many points on the graph have a y value of 7? 2. There's this one, and there's what? That one. So you kind of go horizontal. So remember when we first did f of 3 in the previous part, we said I use a straw, and I said when x is 3, that vertical straw, and that straw intersects the graph here. So I look at that point, and I said the coordinates of that point are 3, 1, right? So that's where we get that 1 from. So when x is 3, my y value is 1. Here, I'm asking this time, you're told y is 7. So now you do the horizontal part. When y is 7, see these 2 points here have a y value of what? 7. What are the coordinates? 0, 7, and here this is 6, 7. So when y is 7, what are your x values? 0 and 6. So you say 0, 6. Okay? 0, 6. All right, number 2. What are the x-intercepts? -6 and 2, right? What's the y-intercept? Oh, not the y-intercept. Positive 2. What's g of 0? When x is 0, what's the y value? 2. G of -3, when x is -3, my y value is positive 3. Good. All right, now we're going back to letter E. This time you're told f of x is -1. You want to find out what values of x do you get f of x to be -1? -7 and 3. So remember, f of x, the idea is y. So y is -1. Here's where y is -1 right here. So you kind of use that horizontal straw. So you're looking at 2 points, right? 2 points. This point here and this point here. Both of those points have a y value of -1. Yes or no? Question is, what are those x values? What's this x value right here? -7, and this is 3. So what are the answers? -7 and 3. Okay? All right, let's look at the next one. H of 5. So, yeah, so the y value when x is 5 is 7. The y value when x is -4 is, what are you going to say? None. Don't say 0. If you say 0, I'm assuming you mean the number 0. So say none or say does not exist. Okay? None or does not exist. Okay, f of 0 in number 4.
-3.
F of 0 is -3. Good. All right, here's the other one. What values of x does f of x equal 0? So again, this time y is what? 0. What do y'all think? What values of x does 4? 4. Because look, y 0 here, right? That's along the x-axis. So that's this point here. This is the point right here. And again, it helps if you find the point and you list the coordinates. So if I list this, if I put a dot in this point here, the coordinates of that point is 4, 0. So that's the one I want because what's y? 0. What's that x value? 4. So I'll put 4 in the blank. What values of x does, or value of x does f of x equal -6? How many are there? Just 1. So when y is -6, what's that x value? Yeah, so here's -6 right here, right? Here's the point that I'm pointing to. So that is right here. So y'all agree that this point here, my y coordinate is -6?
Yes.
What's the y value?
You mean the x value?
I'm sorry, yes, the x value. Thank you. -4?
I'm on a roll today.
Yes, you are. What's f of -7? -8. What's f of -8? Does not exist. There's no point, right? In fact, it's not even part of your domain, -8. So you say none. Okay? Or it does not exist. All right, any questions on that? Okay, so that's a quick review on that part. Now let's look at this one.
You scribble out X-intercept?
Huh?
You scribble out X-intercept?
Did I what now?
You scribble out X. Risk.
Yeah, I just put what are the intercepts. So I'll tell you how to write that. Okay, so all right, so notice when you start out a problem, always look at the graph. So notice that this graph has an open circle and it also has a closed circle. Okay, so always keep that in mind. There are no arrows here on this particular function, but it is a function because it does pass the vertical line test. And the domain and range and the function value should be easy for us because we had that in previous lessons. But let's talk about the domain. What do you think the domain is? Okay, so it starts at -8 going along the x-axis. So -8, parentheses or brackets? Parentheses because of the open circle. So -8 is not part of the domain. So we're going to use parentheses -8, comma, all the way to what? +8 with a bracket. Good. All right, so that's my domain. So that's domain. The range, you're going to go along the y-axis. So where do I start just in the graph when y is what? 1? 0, right? 0. Bracket or parentheses? Okay, now let's talk about that. So that you're getting a little not confused, but you're have some cognitive disagreement here. So notice that there you see this open circle here, and you see a closed circle here. Actually, it's not closed, but every point on this graph would be considered closed. right here. All right. Now remember, we're finding the range. So is, and we're talking about the range. What's this y value right here?
4.
No, the y value. 0. Is 0 part of the range? That's what you're asking yourself, right? It is part of the range because I need it here. I don't need it here, but I do need it where? Here. So 0 is part of the range. Okay? All right. So don't let that right here confuse you. It would be a little bit different if I had this. Let me kind of, I don't have an extra graph. Let me just kind of do this. Oh, what? Okay. Let's suppose you had this. Let's suppose this graph did this. Let's say it went down right here, and then instead of touching here, it kind of did this. Okay, but not touch it. Just somewhere around here, whatever this is. Then this would be the lowest point. So then you would say what? Parentheses 0 to whatever this y value is. Okay, so don't let the fact that these two are at the same level confuse you. You're still going to use 0 because you need it here. 0 is part of this range. All right, so again, I could have just done this. So let's say it did this, and then all of a sudden did this. You see this right here? Then you would say 0 to whatever this y value is, where this would be parentheses. But if it does this, which is this, then I still have to use 0 because it's included here. The one in your test is more straightforward than this one, so you shouldn't have an issue. Okay, so what's the range then? Yeah, you're going to use this 0 right here, not this one. Don't say parentheses 0. It's going to say bracket because of this right here. All the way to what y value? Does it stop? Does it stop here? No. Even though you have a closed circle here, there is a highest y value. What's that highest y value? 7. With a bracket. All right. What's f of negative 4? F of negative 4. So what's the y value when x is negative 4? 7. What's f of positive 4? 0. So you see that's part of your 0 is part of your range right here, because there is an x value that's associated with it. What's f of 8? 4. What are the what are the intercepts? There are 2 of them, right? So now, whenever it's listed in blank like this, chances are they're going to want you to put this as an ordered pair. So it just says intercepts, right? It didn't say what are the x-intercepts, what are the y-intercepts. In that case, put them as ordered pairs. So you're going to say this right here is what ordered pair? 0, 1, and then this one right here is what ordered pair? Oops, I'm sorry, you can't see it. This one right here. No, come on. 4 what? 4, 0. Okay, 4, 0. So 0, 1's this one. And then 4, 0's this one. Now, if it's listed separately, like suppose you had what are the x-intercepts, then you can just say 4, like that. Now, don't say that's an x-intercept, right? Is this right here an x-intercept? No, that's an open circle. It's not part of the graph. What is the y-intercept? Then you can just say what? 1. So knows the difference between the two when it says intercepts versus x and y intercepts. So if it just says intercepts with a blank, and I think My Math Lab is like this, where you're asked the intercepts and you got to put them as ordered pairs. Don't forget, some of you have problems still with writing these as ordered pairs. You got to say 0, 1, not 1, 0. You have to say 4, 0, not 0, 4. Okay, now the new thing. Let's talk about increasing, decreasing. Okay, now it's very straightforward. We're going to use the idea of the straw to help us through this. It also helps. All right, we're going to talk about increasing and decreasing. So where is a function increasing? Where is a function decreasing? Where is a function constant? What I'm doing first. Whenever, and listen carefully, whenever you're asking where's a function increasing, decreasing, or constant, you're looking at the domain. You're only looking at the domain. So you're going to go along the x-axis. Go along the x-axis. All right, I'm asking you this. As I go from left to right, I want you to notice your y values. Take a look at your y values. As I go from left to right, now as I go from left to right, my x values are increasing, right? This is -5, this is -3, this is 1, this is 8, and so on. So your x values are doing what? Increasing. Okay, so they're getting bigger. Now, notice your y coordinates. So I'm going to ask you this. For this x value right here, compare this y coordinate with this y coordinate. What can you say about this y coordinate with in relation to this one? It's bigger.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Now, compare this y coordinate here with, let's say, this y coordinate. That one was bigger, that one was smaller. All right, so here's the idea. So notice as you go along the x-axis, because when you discuss where's a function increasing, decreasing, or constant, you're looking at the domain. So from this part of the domain to this part of the domain, what's happened to your y values? All right, notice I'm going to do this instead. As I go from left to right, what are these y values right here doing? Increasing. All of a sudden, there's a peak, and then all of a sudden your y values are doing what? Decreasing. Decreasing, 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 and there's a valley, I guess, and then all of a sudden your y values are doing what? Increasing. Okay. So now I'm going to use a straw. Where do these valleys and peaks occur? Well, one of them occurs here.
7.
All right. So basically, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this right here and make it go through the x-axis. Make it go through the x-axis. Okay. So there's a change. There's a change at what x value? -4. Y'all agree? That's going to be important. That will be important. And then all of a sudden my y values are doing what? Decreasing, 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 decreasing. All of a sudden they're doing what? Increasing. Where does it change? At 4. So there are two changes. Where do the two changes occur?
7.
No. -4 and 4. That's where they occur. Okay? So now it's important you know what your domain is. So my domain went from -8 all the way to what? 8. So in that part of the domain, in this domain right here, in this domain, these two red segments divided this part of the domain into how many pieces? No, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? All right, now let's talk about this. Listen carefully. So from -8 to this part of the domain, what did my y values do? Increase. So write the word increase. From here to here, it increased. Again, it helps to do that, so because if you don't write it like this, if you don't write them out, chances are you may misrepresent this part here for the answer. So it's increasing here, then what's happening between these two parts? I mean, these two vertical red segments I've drew. It decreases. So those y values are decreasing. And then from here to here, what did it do? Increased. So there's an increase, there's a decrease, and another increase, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and all you do, remember, when finding where a function increases or decreases or constant, you're looking at your domain. You're looking at your domain. All right, so from -8 to -4, what did my y values do? Increase. All right, I'm going to say this. Whenever you're asking for increasing, decreasing, or constant, you're always looking at open intervals. So your intervals will always be open. So the only time you need to focus on, is it bracket or is it parentheses, is when you're looking for domain and range. That's the only time. If it's asking for increasing, decreasing, constant, it's always going to be parentheses. Is that clear? Always parentheses. Always use parentheses. Because you are talking about open intervals. So always use parentheses. It's only when you talk about domain and range do you need to consider, is this going to be a closed circle, is this going to be an open, is it going to be a bracket or is it going to be a parentheses? All right, so it's increasing from -8 to what? -4. So right here I say -8, comma, 4 in parentheses. So I didn't say, yeah, -8. So from -8 to -4, right? -4. I put 4, but I meant -4. Where else is it increasing? 4 to 8. That's also where it's increasing. All right, so it's increasing in two intervals. What are the two intervals? Negative 8 to 4 and 4 to 8. Okay. Where is it decreasing? Between what two? Between what two numbers? -4 and +4. So notice, I want you to notice this. All these numbers right here came from the x-axis, right? Okay. All these numbers here come from the x-axis. So -8, 4, 4, and 8. So it'll be -4, comma, 4, right? Y'all agree? Okay. All right, let's look at the other one. Let's go directly to that one. Let's talk about increasing, decreasing for that one. Now, I want you to notice something. In the previous one, as I went from left to right, my y values did what? Increase, and all of a sudden they did what? Decrease, and all of a sudden increase. Here, I want you to notice that, now this time we have arrows, right? So that's going all the way towards the idea of -infinity. So you may want to look at your domain. So my domain here is from where? -infinity all the way to +infinity. So that's my domain. So I'm going to list it first. I don't need to know anything about the range to really do the increasing, decreasing constant. I need to know the domain though. So my domain is from -infinity to infinity. All right, now listen carefully. As I go from along the x-axis, right? You go along the x-axis. As I go from the x-axis, what are my y values doing on this part of the graph? Constant. Your y values are constant. In fact, they're always going to be -6. Then all of a sudden, what are these y values doing? Increasing. Then it changes at 5. What does it change to? Constant. So I'm constant, I'm increasing, and then I'm what? Constant. All right, now what I would then do is, just like I did a while ago, separate your x-axis. So from -infinity to where? -4, just like this. My y values were what? Constant. I'm sorry, Yeah, my y values were constant. And then from -4 to where? +5, my y values, what did y values do? Increase. And then from 5 to what? Positive infinity. So that was increase right here, right? And then what were they here? Constant. All right, so constant, increase, constant. So the first one, where is f increasing?
-4.
From -4 to 5. Again, guys, it helps if you draw that red segment like I did to separate where it changes, and then write the words constant, increase, decrease. Write them out on the x-axis. On the x-axis. Because many students do have a little confusion with increasing, decreasing. They want to, this is what they do. They want to say it's increasing when y is -6 to when y is 1. You see -6 right here?
Yes.
And you see 1 right here?
Yes.
So that's what they want to say, but that's not what we put in there. What we put in there is the x values where that's occurring. So that's why it's important you actually put these words on the x-axis. So where's it increasing? From -4 to what? 5. Always use parentheses with all of these. So from -4 to 5, because we're talking about open intervals. Where's it decreasing? Nowhere. So say nowhere. Don't leave it blank. If you leave it blank, that means you don't know what the answer is. Or that's what I would think it means. So say nowhere. Where's it constant? Good. -infinity all the way to -4. And then where else? 5 to positive infinity. Okay. What's the range? So you start at x at y is what? -6, and you stop when y is what? 1. Now remember, domain and range, so brackets may be needed, and it is needed for both. So you can say what? Bracket -6 to 1 with a bracket. All right. What's f of -6? So what's the y value when x is -6? What is it? -6. Yep. What's the, yeah. The one where? Here? Your range, remember range go from, go along the y-axis. So where do I start touching the graph? Here, right? Where does the graph stop? Right there. See, it doesn't keep on going. It does keep on going because it stops here. So that's at y value of 1. Okay? All right. What is the y value when x is 7?
1.
So when x is 7, that's right here, right? And I could have also said this like I did earlier. What is f of -1,000? -1,000.
1.
No. -1,000. -1,000 on this side, guys. What's that y value? -6. You agree?
Yes.
Okay. What are the intercepts? And let's put those as ordered pairs. How many are there? 2. There's a y-intercept. What's this y-intercept? Ordered pair. 0, -3. And there's the x-intercept. What's that as an ordered pair? 4, 0. Okay. All right. So there is a problem in the test. So it'll be one graph, and you'll be asked to do all this. Yes. I'll give you another graph on beginning period Saturday. So it's not that bad. Yeah, a lot of details you have to be careful with. But when you get to the increase and decreasing, make sure you do this. It helps if you write it out. You draw those little red segments, and then you explain what's happening between each part of the x-axis. So here it's constant, here it's increasing, and then here it's constant. Okay? All right, so we do a little bit more with that Saturday, so you should be okay with that.